store, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
So while Star Wars news seems to still be continuing to be on the light side, there are signs that things may be picking up as we get closer to December. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe. Of course, with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Fumbling over words already, but I mean, hey.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, we're just talking here.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good sign, though. It's a good
Right.
sign. Breaking news.
Yeah?
Yeah, breaking news. Big news. Big news. Hayden Christensen wore a hat.
Oh, yes, I did see this.
Yep. He had a hat on. It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, it was an Obi-Wan Kenobi crew hat.
Yes.
So I guess that's a little bit of, kind of cool. But it's not exactly like mind-boggling. I mean, we knew he was working with the project.
Exactly. It
Oh,
is.
man, that is everywhere.
Yeah,
Hayden Christensen wearing Obi-Wan Kenobi crew gear.
I know.
Oh shit.
It's funny because every little bit that we can jump all over, we're jumping. It's yeah, we're scrounging for scraps. But hey,
Now,
I
I gotta say this though. I'm very happy that Hayden Christensen is still out doing Star Wars stuff.
that is the one thing you can say, right? Because he hasn't really been that big of a like a convention goer, he's made his appearances at a few, but it's not like all the time,
Right.
So it's good to see him out and about and
Well, I mean,
actually
as far
interacting.
as conventions and things like that went, once the whole Revenge of the Sith run was over, Hayden pretty much disappeared.
right.
He didn't really hit the convention scene much, but now he's showing up again. I'm just happy to see that celebration appearance that he made. Obviously was a good experience for him because
Yes.
he's continuing to do it. It's just like Ian McDiarmid, right? Like that guy never went to anything,
Right.
and now I can't open my newsfeed and not see that Ian McDiarmid is going to be here. He's going to be here. He's going to be here. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Exactly. I like it.
I mean, Disney money got involved. I guess that's something, right? Like,
That always helps.
hey, maybe if I stay active, I can keep getting a piece of that pie, right? Like,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I mean, this is what we're doing.
Well, I mean, apparently he's going to be in Kenobi. That's good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we did end up with some bad news this week.
Yeah.
Tom Kane, well known for his work in the Clone Wars and other Star Wars projects. Well, he's being forced into early retirement. That stroke that he suffered a year ago now.
Yeah, it was sometime last year.
It's left him in no shape to continue voice acting.
Yeah, which really sucks.
It really sucks. Tom Kane's one of the greats, right? He's
Absolutely.
that range is unbelievable, and it was one of those guys that could pull off Yoda, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Pull off Yoda.
everyone thinks they have a Yoda voice.
I know. Nobody really does.
But so yeah, we obviously hope that he continues to improve, because there has been some improvement since his stroke, but it's just not there for him to continue his career. So
Yeah.
we continue to hope for the best for Tom. We'll miss him. We will definitely miss him in Star Wars.
Absolutely.
All right. So Disney theme parks. We've talked about them quite a bit over the last few weeks.
Right.
Most recently, we ended up talking about this this genie, right? This
Oh yeah.
past thing. Interesting move since the announcement of that app for this virtual queuing thing. Disney just announced that starting September 23rd at Walt Disney World, they'll be pausing the boarding groups for Rise of the Resistance, which boarding groups are like a virtual queue.
Okay.
So you had to, like, certain times throughout the day, you could queue for Rise of the Resistance. And you basically apply to be in a boarding group. You get a time to come ride the ride. They're doing away with that. And they're going to a regular standby queue. So you can just go stand in line.
Okay.
It's an interesting move, considering we were just talking about implementation of a new virtual queuing system.
Right. I wonder what brings us on. It's kind of...
I think it's because they want people to go stand in line for this ride, get pissed off about standing in line for this ride, and welcome the new virtual queue.
Oh, I see. This is a tactic as far as you're concerned.
It's all tactic. No, I think at this point it's just that traffic has slowed down enough that they feel like standing in line won't be ridiculous. Based on what I've seen for this attraction, though, it looks like if you're standing in line waiting for this thing, you're going to be standing for a while. Like, even if the line's relatively short, it doesn't look like this has the capacity to really pump people through.
Right. Yeah. Like each group that gets going looks like it's a pretty small group, right? And then you kind of like got to wait for another car to come along type thing, right?
Well, I mean, the first portion of it's all walkthrough.
Okay.
So, but I think you got to time it for the cars and the walkthrough and things like that. So you don't want, your group walking out, and while you're walking out of that room, the door behind you opens and you see the group coming behind you going to see the same thing you just saw. That's kind of breaks up the whole immersion thing of it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So you don't want the immersion to be broken until you get to the end of the ride.
Yeah.
So there's probably a certain amount of distance they have to leave before, in between each party.
Yeah, I would say so. That's kind of what I was getting at. I didn't realize the first part was walkthrough, but yeah, it's kind of the same principle there where, you got to have only a certain amount of people going at a time, kind of breaking it up.
Yep.
So.
And then the other thing is you can't have people doing the walkthrough thing getting hung up waiting for the next door to open.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Yep.
Hopefully it's everything that I've heard, this ride is well worth it. And
I mean, everything I've seen looks like it.
Yeah, true.
I mean, some of it looks a little, I've seen different walkthrough videos and ride videos and things.
Right.
And some of it looks a little wonky, but which shouldn't, because they hype this up to be like fully immersive, and some of that stuff totally looks animatronic. So
aha, gotcha. Well,
just saying, don't overhype your stuff.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it just that was an interesting move to me. Interesting move.
Yeah, it is different. That's for sure.
All right, where do we want to go? Oh, we talked about Obi-Wan Kenobi a little bit.
Yes.
This is a little more than someone wearing a hat.
Oh, good.
A little more meat on the bone here. So what is his name? Sung Kang?
Yes.
Sung Kang? I'm horrible with names. He was in the Fast and Furious series.
Right. Yeah, we did talk about him already. He was going to be on the show.
Well, he shed a little light onto his work in Kenobi. And I'll just go ahead and read his full quote here. He was, who was he talking with here? Collider?
Screen
Screen Rant.
Screen Rant. Yeah.
Okay, so he says, I used to dress in the cheap Kmart plastic Halloween costumes. Kmart. Of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Almost every single day from 8 to 13 years old. Wow, you did it every day?
Yeah. It's Star Wars.
My friends and I would play pretend. We'd make our own lightsabers out of, toilet paper centers and stuff like that. To be able to be on set and see Darth Vader and see the Star Wars universe in front of me. Just as a fan, to be able to be a part of that history is pretty amazing. I kept pinching myself going, how did I end up here? And my character has a lightsaber, and it's not a toy. It's actually the real thing.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's pretty interesting. This is, like you said, this is a little bit meatier.
Yes.
Because I think he's kind of almost giving something away here.
Well, especially since when we talked about him before.
Yep.
We're talking about the rumor that he was going to be playing the fifth brother.
Right.
Well, he had a lightsaber.
Yep.
Whether you'd call that one the real thing was questionable.
Well, okay. I will go this far. Yes, the fifth brother was actually rumored before. I will say Inquisitor, though.
Yeah.
Number one, you're in the presence of Darth Vader, and two, you have a lightsaber. Yeah. Either you're fighting him. That's he could be a Jedi.
Oh, he could be a Jedi,
and he might get taken out. Right. This might be some of what we were looking to see. We heard about these stories. Darth Vader taking out the stragglers here and there of Jedi, hunting them down. It's like, this could really be something. Or,
oh yeah,
he's an Inquisitor, and he's just there with Vader. I think we all would like to see some of that Vader action we got in Rogue One, though, right?
Yes. Well, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was one of the coolest Vader moments in the history of the saga.
Absolutely.
But it was short.
Right.
Need more of that. Outside of video games.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, part of me doesn't want the whole fifth brother. Like, if there's one thing I had to complain about in Rebels, it was the helicopter lightsaber thing.
I understand. I do. Yeah. Part of what that reminds me of is Grievous, right?
Right.
You're using a mechanized configuration with your lightsaber to make up for lack of ability, right?
Right.
Essentially is what you're kind of getting at. That's the way I took it.
They used it less for that. They didn't really. I guess they did use it for that too, but it wasn't as common. And every Inquisitor had it, right?
I think so.
But the part that made me go, okay, when they literally used it as helicopter blades, like, and like floated down.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow,
that Sith Temple one.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
I was like, man, like this, and this is a small gripe, but this is so minimal. It's not like it took me out of it, right? Like,
yeah, right. I get you.
But that was the one moment where I was like, wow, this is like the whole point of that thing.
Yeah.
Because the second you engage it in a fight, you're pretty much committed to you're doing that thing.
Right. You just got me remembering the helicopter thing.
Yeah. That was just not good.
Right.
That was just not
It
good.
was just not good. Yes.
I mean, one, I don't know how much lift you're getting out of, plasma.
Exactly.
I know we're not supposed to do the science thing, but come on, man. That was just...
I know. It's funny because I know I know your work background. Yeah, you have some aviation there, so it's like I get it.
Yep, just... Yeah. Yeah, I don't see that one.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work.
So, yeah, I hope that's not his lightsaber. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I think it's relatively likely that it is,
Do you?
and that he is an Inquisitor. It just makes sense. This part in the timeline.
Yeah. I would still like it to be, man. I would still like it to be
Another Jedi.
Another Jedi. He's come to grips with, what's happened in Order 66 and all that, and he's kind of like just trying to live his life somewhere on some desolate world, and the Empire comes there, and he's got to dig his lightsaber out from underneath the floorboards and dust it off, and okay, here we go.
And put the two pieces together, because that's how you hide them.
Exactly. Well, if you just wear them on each side of your belt, you'd be all right.
I mean, no one knows.
No one will recognize it. Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's complaint number 2 from Rebels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was short lived.
I know, it was all minor.
That ended in the first episode.
I mean, let's be real. These are the things we had to complain about in Rebels.
Yeah, and these are not big things.
Minuscule.
Right.
So even if it is the things that we see in this series, once again, it's going to be minor.
Right.
Well, I guess as long as they don't screw it up.
Oh, I have a feeling they won't screw it up. I mean, we've talked about who's involved in all this, and I just can't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, my faith in Deborah Chow after her work in The Mandalorian, yeah, my faith is super high.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. All right. What else we got here? Well, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
We'll go back. This is another one of those moments where it's like, that makes sense.
Okay. I like it.
So Katie Sackhoff was talking with Slash Film and basically said that she's pretty sure she'll be back in season 3.
Okay.
All right. So it went this way. So the way that Lucasfilm left me in season 2, one of the roads that could be gone down, absolutely, you'd think, would be the unfinished business.
Right.
So the Darksaber, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then she says, but that is so far above my pay grade, and you just don't know, right? As a fan of the show, I'm just excited to see what they come up with. I mean, that makes tons of sense.
It does. I mean,
that Din having the Darksaber is a big bit of unfinished business.
Yes.
Especially when talking about Bo-Katan.
Absolutely. So, okay, we can go into this a little bit, I think, because we had that last episode, the way all that went down and all the setup, like, especially in the dialogue, I think overshadowing everything that was said prior is the ending of the episode. Okay. Luke and all that. But there was a lot of talk, a lot of setup about Bo-Katan saying, I don't care what happens with everything else, Gideon's mine, right?
Right.
And it just so happened, and on the other side of the coin, Mando is saying, all I care about is getting the kid back. So, in their planning phase, it seemed as though they had two different things to be worrying about, and it wasn't going to become a problem until getting the kid back meant having to go through Gideon.
Right.
And with that being the case, Mando ends up liberating the Darksaber from Gideon.
Right.
And so it's kind of like all coincidental the way it worked, and I'm sure it's all intentional, intentionally coincidental. But because of that, and what we were told by Gideon later on, having to win the Darksaber, which that alone is something that's kind of like left up in the air for all of us who have seen Rebels and wondering why she has to win it and all that. But
yeah, I mean, she just got it the first time.
Exactly. It was handed to her.
Yeah, Sabine's like, here you go. She's like, cool.
Exactly. Thanks.
Mando goes, here you go. And she's like, no, I can't do it that way.
Can't. Yep. Gotta kill you. So that right there is something that needs to be answered. Those two figuring that out is something that needs to be answered. I mean, it's clear. I just, and then it's like we all kind of forgot about all that as soon as Luke showed up, which, I mean, understandably.
And especially since it seems like the Darksaber is probably coming from someone who would be considered unworthy to wield it if these are the rules. Because Gideon had it, and she's alive.
True.
So he didn't win it outright in the first place. So he's a pretender who has something that doesn't belong to him.
Yeah. Yeah. It happened somehow. You're right.
I mean, because the simple solution here would be like, okay, we have to do it by combat. Here, go ahead, punch me in the face a few times and take it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it could be that easy.
Yeah, worth it to get this burden off my back.
Yeah.
I mean, if you need to shoot me a few times, go for it. I've already proven this. Armor's pretty awesome.
I was going to say, I think we can count the episodes where Mando hasn't been shot more than he has. So,
has there been one?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe the spiders one.
Oh, yep. Well, I don't. The ship has been in that one.
Oh yeah, they shot the crap out of the ship.
Yeah,
and heck, the pilots might have shot him when they landed at the end.
Oh, it's possible.
Man, he gets shot a lot.
Definitely gets shot a lot. Yeah.
Good thing that armor's awesome.
But yeah, we'll have to see where that goes because, that's where they've got to take it next, I think, for sure.
Right. And then, obviously, Bo-Katan's got a lot available to the character right now, right? Because Ahsoka.
Oh, right.
I mean, these are two characters that have a pretty extensive history, considering.
Yeah, true.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see Katie return in the Ahsoka Tano series.
I would think that's a pretty good bet.
So, yeah. Well, one other person was asked about Star Wars and coming back.
Yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito. And you know how he put it.
What do you have to say?
Well, he said a lot.
Okay.
Because he says, I can't speak. He said, I can't speak for them, but I know I have desire. He says, I think we need to see Moff to continue the story and continue the pressure that and the edge that someone with the big brain that Moff has thinks about. I don't know what that means. So I could almost guarantee it. But there's never a guarantee, but you'll see me.
Nice. Sounds to me like he's pretty sure.
Yeah, you know, I got to say, it's kind of weird that here we are. It's September.
Yep.
I don't know how long this show's being put off for. Is it like being put off till end of the year 2022?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because it's really starting to feel that way.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we're gonna have to get like some stuff in the meantime. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? At least I would think.
Well, I mean, we're probably looking at seeing, well, obviously, the Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
We may see the Obi-Wan Kenobi series in there.
Right.
And we may see the Cassian series in there.
Right. So both of those they're done shooting them. Right.
Right.
So that's kind of like a given. It's common sense to think that we'll see those first. And it could be.
It's kind of odd to see an active show get a 2-year delay.
Yeah. You don't think of it happening that way because I guess we're all still, on the network TV kind of programming mindset, but
right.
Maybe it's just how it's going to work. Moving forward.
Well, I mean, shows like Stranger Things have definitely changed this.
That is true.
This whole dynamic, right?
Yes.
You don't see Stranger Things every year.
Right. That was really the first time that I ever noticed a show be less consistent with its release. And it's like everyone forgave him for it, it was okay. So,
well, that show cracks me up because you're like, is it ever coming back? Is it ever coming back? And then they're like, hey, it's back next week.
Right.
Like,
yeah, true.
It always amazes me that they could be filming and no one knows.
Exactly. Yeah. Of course, a lot of these, other things don't get the kind of attention Star Wars does. I mean, you have people flying drones around Star Wars shoots and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Stranger Things pretty popular, man.
I know. It's not Star Wars popular.
Well, I mean, the whole premise of the show, it's gonna be over with before it gets there, but it's gaining traction.
Right.
Everybody's gonna be too old to continue after a while.
Oh, I think that's gonna be the case real quick.
Yeah, actually, this probably will be their last season.
Yeah.
One more at the most.
Yeah, and
basically what we were getting at here is Giancarlo Esposito, Katie Sackhoff, teasing their return for season 3. And those were kind of like, duh.
Exactly. I love it.
I mean, it's good to hear.
It is.
But, I mean, these are two characters that we definitely expected.
Yeah, for sure.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsAndMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsAndMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com.
All right, so this wouldn't be a Star Wars podcast if occasionally we didn't talk about the maker, George Lucas.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently this whole story here is a little weird because apparently there's going to be a documentary or a docu-series or something, right? About a documentary series, it says, about George Lucas and ILM. And apparently it's going to be done by Larry Kasdan.
Really?
Yeah. So this is coming from James Newton Howard. So
Okay.
James Newton Howard has pretty much how do they put it? He has composed the score for all of Kasdan's directorial films since 1994's Wyatt Earp. So he's in the know because apparently he's scoring this thing. And he's the one who let this out, kind of like, let the cat out of the bag. So the funny thing about this is that nowhere is there any information on whether or not this is actually a Disney Lucasfilm production. Yeah. So, we just don't have any of that info. So, but apparently this is going to be kind of like, as I understand it, taking a deeper dive, a closer look into George and ILM. Yes, there's Star Wars, it's like everything that's been done about George is Star Wars for the most part, right? All the behind the scenes and all that. This is, as I understand it, going to be more about, George. It says George and ILM, but that goes back to the, I want these certain effects. So how do we do that? And he's told everywhere there's not a way to do that. He's like, okay, well, I'm going to invent a way to do that. That right. Kind of thing. So, oh yeah, here it is. It'll be a 6-part series focusing on George and Island. So, yeah.
But nothing about where it's going to show up.
Nothing.
Like, so a while back, I'd say it makes sense that Disney would be kind of distant from this, right? Mainly because of George's work, for the most part, with 20th Century Fox. But
yeah, that was the distribution deal. Yeah,
yep. But that's a Disney property now,
right?
So,
I don't know. I think
you can watch shows on Disney Plus now, and you see the 20th Century Fox stuff all the time.
True. I think that Disney would want to own this. You know what I'm saying? Whether
you would think,
whether they do or not, I don't know. And if this is like a kind of like a pet project of Larry Kasdan, and he's just doing it, and he's gonna look for distribution and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised one bit to see Disney, Lucasfilm offer to buy it. Because, they've got everything else at George's, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it'd be crazy for it to not show up on Disney, but documentaries are always weird, right?
Yeah, true.
It's not that unusual for a documentary to show up outside of a particular person's usual deals.
Right.
Just because I don't know, I don't know how Disney feels about documentaries.
Well, I have to say, I'm surprised they haven't done this yet, because you think about Disney galleries that we've commented on plenty in the past here. That's exactly what those are. They are behind the scenes looks at The Mandalorian. Now,
right.
That sort of thing. Also, the fly-throughs that they gave us of the ships and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff. They've got Nat Geo's on Disney Plus, so you know what I'm saying. It's like they have people that could do this sort of thing. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. I wonder if the way they were able to get it done was to actually have Larry Kasdan do it.
Well, I'll say this. Okay. After watching Behind the Attraction, I would rather see this project happen somewhere else and then Disney pick it up.
Yes, I agree with that. Because I guess the other way you could put it is if George Lucas saw Behind the Attraction and they said, "Hey, George, we want to do a documentary." He's like, "Screw that." Yeah. No way. Only if Larry Kasdan does it. I'll talk to him. Nobody else.
Yeah, like, I mean, because, I mean, that was like an hour-long trailer. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it felt like.
So, yeah, I wouldn't want to see a George Lucas documentary in that format. That would be awful.
It would be awful.
I'd like to see it in a traditional documentary format.
Yeah. Even the stuff they had in that Behind the Attraction with George Lucas was, for me, they're chopping his interviews up, into like little bites. It's like, just let the interview play. I just want to hear what the man has to say,
Yeah, I don't like that we format everything like it's a TikTok video.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. You strung about like 37 of those together, and then, hey, look, we got a documentary.
Yeah.
It's what it was.
It was that format. YouTube video, like TikTok Vines, if y'all remember that.
Right.
So yeah, that's not what we need. I want to see a true documentary that starts at the beginning and ends with the end.
Yes.
Not like, here's part of the end and some of the beginning, and then here's something in the middle, and then back to the beginning. Yeah, just not like, hey, like, this is totally going to hit you in the face.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it developed elsewhere and then bought by Disney.
Well, we can only hope, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, wherever it comes from, I'm in. I want to see it.
Oh, and I mean, just the amount of material that's available to do a George Lucas documentary,
right,
is fantastic. Just using the behind the scenes stuff over the years from Star Wars, Indiana Jones.
Yeah. He was like one of the pioneers of doing that, of like, we got all these cameras to film the movie. Well, let's just get a couple extras around here just to film what we're doing,
Yeah.
So.
And we'll put it all in there as bonus features.
Exactly.
Like, he was ready for bonus features before bonus features were a thing.
Right.
Because they had all that behind the camera stuff for the original trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just ready to go when the special editions and all that stuff came out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This does need to happen, though. I mean, there was just so much that was pioneered by ILM. There's a reason why almost every movie you watch in a theater now, you watch the credits and you'll see ILM or
absolutely
Skywalker Sound.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so many.
I mean, Star Wars aside, Indiana Jones aside, there were just so many other things that don't get the amount of coverage, right?
Right.
So, yeah, excited to see this and to see some of those peaks at development. I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, I'm sure they are too. And like I said, I'm in. I can't wait to see it.
I mean, how many bits of footage have we seen for the writing room for the Clone Wars, right? George filmed everything.
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, I think their struggle is going to be to make this thing not 10 hours long.
Well, it's supposed to be 6 episodes, so 10 hours might be about right. Yeah. That'll work.
That'll work. I'll watch it.
I'll watch it.
All right. Award shows.
Okay. What do we got?
Well, this time it's the Emmys. So,
Oh, good.
now it's the Emmys. It's the Creative Arts Emmys. So this is all the, I guess you could say, ancillary.
Yeah, ancillary stuff. People that do all the real work.
Right. Absolutely. It's not the marquee stuff though.
Right.
So those took place this week. Primetime Emmys coming up this weekend.
Okay.
But yeah, the Mandalorian knocked down a few.
Really?
Yeah. So the Mandalorian won 7 Creative Arts Emmys.
Wow.
The show just continues to rack them up.
Heck yeah.
So it won. We'll go through everything it's won so far and stop when necessary to discuss.
All right.
So this one, no brainer, right? Outstanding music composition for a series.
Of course.
It's amazing to see this happen still with Star Wars, with John Williams not being the exclusive.
Right. It's like this, though. I mean, he set the bar so high. I don't know how you can, everybody who's going to be in that position is going to be like top of their game,
Right. Well, there's that. And I mean, and this is different than any others, right? Because this one, they only played one cue from John Williams' music.
Right.
One.
Yep.
So when Ludwig Göransson won this, oh wow, he got it for that episode, Chapter 16, The Rescue.
That's hilarious. Okay.
But anyway, he's killed it. Just absolutely killed it.
Absolutely killed it.
Living up to the Star Wars music, that bar, right?
Right.
So, yeah, that's great. Outstanding special visual effects in a season or a movie. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Outstanding stunt coordination. So
Okay.
The Mandalorian won that.
Yeah.
Outstanding stunt performance. Once again, that one was Chapter 16, The Rescue. So,
Okay. Wow.
I mean, that one had a lot going for it, right? With stunt performances.
Yeah. For
Between
sure.
the Bo-Katan and
Yep.
wow, names are
Oh.
Fennec Shand
Fennec
and
Shand. Yep.
Gina Carano, like
Yep.
that whole sequence, and then the Luke Skywalker sequence,
Right.
the fight between Gideon and Din.
Yep.
That episode just had a lot going on.
It had a lot. That's for sure. Yes. Yeah. Like I said it earlier, I think it's all overshadowed by the appearance of Luke, but dang, there was a lot of other stuff there.
All right, so continuing on, outstanding cinematography for a single camera series half hour. The Mandalorian again, episode chapter 15, The Believer, was the winner there.
Okay. Cool.
Outstanding prosthetic makeup. The Mandalorian won there with chapter 13, The Jedi. So Ahsoka Tano with the win.
Nice. Okay. Heck yeah.
And then outstanding sound mixing for a comedy or drama series. Once again, chapter 13, The Jedi.
Wow.
I mean, the sound mixing for that episode.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. That's what I was recalling that.
I mean, stick and move lightsabers, right? Like,
right, and that's with Ahsoka being stealthy and sneaking around and all that. All of that played into that, I think.
oh yeah, whenever you have a stealthy sequence like that, it does really emphasize. Like, silence has a weird way of emphasizing the sound team's skill.
Absolutely.
So yeah, makes sense. So that's a good preliminary haul.
Yeah, totally. Be interesting
I
to see
don't-
what they do in the primetime portion.
I don't know everything that's up in the prime times. I know Giancarlo Esposito has a nomination in there.
Okay, makes sense.
I mean, he was fantastic. I mean, he may get a little extra love from us because we love the extracurriculars.
Right, of course.
But yeah, we'll see what happens Sunday. We'll talk about that on next week's episode.
Heck yeah.
All right. Star Wars video games.
Oh, the video games. We have such a love-hate relationship with those.
Yeah, and this one is one of those, right?
Oh.
It's a love-hate thing.
Yes.
Because on one hand, it's like, yes, and then on the other hand is why.
Nice. What do we got?
So it was announced literally, almost literally after we shut the mics off last week.
Nice. That's how it goes.
It was announced that they are remaking Knights of the Old Republic.
Ah, yeah.
And when it came out, it was PS5 Knights of the Old Republic. It's like, what are they doing here?
Right. Yeah.
Why would you limit that? And then it came out a little later, PS5 and PC.
Okay.
And then another day later, it's a timed release. So a timed exclusive for PS5 and PC, which means it'll open up after a while. And would probably show up on other platforms like Xbox, things like that.
Okay.
So the release thing is, it's weird.
Yeah. Definitely.
Especially since I'm pretty sure the original Knights of the Old Republic was a Xbox and Windows exclusive.
Nice. That makes all the sense in the world then.
Yeah, flip it. Flip
Yeah.
it. Like, we're remaking it. Let's start by making it weird.
Right. Yeah, totally.
But one thing that sticks out to me here is the word remake.
Oh, I see where you're coming
Now,
from.
It had been rumored leading up to this that Knights of the Old Republic was going to be getting a remaster. So brought up to today's graphics quality, right?
Gotcha. Yep.
Where it would, in most remasters, they bring it up, but it still manages to fall short because they try to keep true to the original game.
Right.
So it still ends up being a little wonky, things like that. Most remasters end up being a little wonky, but you're fine with it because, let's be real here, the old game was a little wonky. So
Yeah, careful now.
hey, when you look back at it, when you look back at all these old games, for everything you love about it, you have to admit that if you compare it to today's standards, there was a lot of wonky stuff going on.
Right.
You know, you didn't care about a load screen that took a little too long. That was the times.
Right.
You know, you didn't care if you had to restart a sequence because your screen went funky. It was the times.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those times.
So when that happens in the remasters, you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Not in a remake.
this phrasing here, remake, is both exciting and concerning.
Concerning how?
Concerning because remake typically means they're bringing on writers, they're doing new things, they're going to make it gel with whatever they're doing now.
Ah, I see what you're saying.
You know, this game was great for a lot of reasons. Its story was one of those reasons. When you're bringing on writers and you're saying, yes, it's a full remake, it's a little concerning. It's also exciting.
Right. So these are going to be same characters, different story.
Yes. So it looks like we're going to be seeing the same characters. We're going to be seeing was it Bastilla Shan?
I'm not sure.
I think it's Bastilla Shan, Revan, Malik. All these characters are going to be there.
Okay.
But everything I'm seeing looks like, I shouldn't say looks like a new story. It looks like at least a modified story.
Oh no, that could be even worse.
Well, you don't need writers to come in and do the same thing.
It's true. That's true.
You know that they've laid out a writing team. Like you need game designers, you need things like that to do a remake. But if you're using the same story, you don't need a writer. It's literally already written.
Yeah, I mean you would still use writers for like little modifications, but I get what you're saying. You would certainly want, like if you have a team of writers coming in, yeah, it sounds to me like you're trying to make something new. That's,
right. Well, and the word remake.
Yes.
I mean, that seems deliberate.
That it does.
And no one's saying like, yes, this is the old game just made better. No one's saying that.
So with as much love as there is for the old game, is this going to be our next division of the fan base?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be completely honest here. I think they could remaster this game completely up to new standards and tell the same exact story, and it would be the next division of the fan base.
Okay.
Okay, like that's the volatility in the fan base right now.
Yeah, I get that. I'm just wondering.
I definitely think there are going to be elements of this that cause severe heartburn. Yes.
Okay. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Because I know people love this game. And if it's going to turn into something else, then people are going to start getting out there, sharpening up their pitchforks and yeah, I'm just saying.
Now I'll say this, like I am a fan of Knights of the Old Republic.
Uh-huh.
It is not my favorite Star Wars game.
Okay.
I love it. And for the time it was fantastic. It was a new era of Star Wars. It was stuff we wondered about, right?
Yeah.
We always wondered about the old Republic.
Right.
You know, we saw it die in the prequels. But what was it like at its height?
Yeah.
What was it like when it was young? So this game filled in that gap. And it was really the only filling in of that gap we really got for a while. Yeah, there were some books along the way that kind of covered some things. But there wasn't a ton.
Right.
It's really an era that didn't get a whole lot of attention.
True. Well, all I have to say is the story that is existing right now, hopefully they just like make an addition to it as opposed to changing what's there, because then all bets are off. You know?
Well, I would venture to say there's going to be some changing of what's there.
Man, you just bursting my bubble here, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. It's,
Right.
It's what they do. You know, everyone enters into something that's redoing something with wanting to put their mark on it.
Yeah, true.
And when people want to make their mark on something, they don't want to make a mark like I changed a lightsaber color. You know, I did something like that.
Right.
That's not how this works.
True. Yeah, they want to take the story and say, yep, that's my bit in there.
Yep. And everyone wants what they do to be impactful, right?
True. Yes. Because because Star Wars was impactful on everybody, and I shouldn't say everybody, on lots of people, and they want to, I guess, use it as a launch pad for themselves to be impactful on lots of people, I guess.
Yeah. So, like I said, exciting, because playing this game with modern graphics, with the way interfaces can work now and things like that, it's exciting.
Right.
But that name, remake, this gives them so much room to have creative licensing, right? Like, hey, we said it was a remake.
Oh, you think they're just going to call it remake?
Well, that's another thing. That's a whole nother thing. I hope that's not the name of the game.
Oh, man. That's what I thought you were getting at. Wow.
They're calling it remake right now. I assume that's just a placeholder right there, remake.
Yeah, okay. Let's hope.
Because Knights of the Old Republic remake as the release name, that's stupid.
Right. That's where you just say, hey, imagination. SpongeBob talked about it. You should use it.
Like, if that's acceptable, I mean, I wish I would have just copied stuff in high school and put remake in my title.
Yeah.
Because, like, hey, that's cool. It's not plagiarism if you put remake.
Exactly.
And I changed this word here and that word there. It's good. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what to think. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do, but at the same time, I'm a little terrified.
Well, hopefully they do right by the game. Hopefully the fans love it.
I mean, I'd love to see an iteration of this game that they decide is going to be canon, right?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
But at the same time, I don't want to see them abandon everything that came before it just to be able to call it canon.
True. That's
like
right.
don't write this game in an effort to make sense of future Star Wars. It doesn't have to do that. This is 1,000 years, like
Exactly.
you don't have.
Along those lines, if what you do now story wise, has to be canon and has to be able to fit, like the puzzle piece has to fit perfectly in there. What came before can be like the secondhand stories, of that long ago. It all doesn't have to fit perfectly in place, right? It can be a little muddy around the edges.
Right. But yeah, I mean, when you move back this far, I mean, you don't have to worry about the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the High Republic era. You don't have to worry about any of those things.
Right.
This is this at this time. Knights of the Old Republic, yeah, it felt like Star Wars. It had Star Wars elements, but it didn't do things that made sense for the original trilogy. Like, it didn't have to.
Right. Exactly.
Don't try to make the puzzle pieces fit. You're doing the borders right now, right? Like,
exactly. Doing the borders. I like it.
there's so many pieces along the way before you get to the middle. And then there's even more pieces until you get to the end. You don't have to make them all fit right now.
Right.
So, yeah. We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, all right. If you have anything to add to the conversation, like want to tell me I'm full of crap about Knights of the Old Republic, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. Find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.